HIV-fighting drones have been released in Africa for the first time ever in a bid to combat the spread of the deadly virus, but not without a mixed reaction from bystanders, some of whom thought that the flying machines were witchcraft delivering something evil. Well, the drones were being used to fly HIV tests to labs in Malawi. Malawi has one of the highest rates of HIV in the world. 15% of adults, roughly, are carrying the virus. Now, this mission is still in testing, but if it works, then a fleet of drones will be delivering around 250 tests to each drop-off points. Most of these drop-off points are in rural areas of Africa that are hard to get to. One of the problems with testing for HIV is in getting access to these areas in these rural parts. Here we're talking about Malawi, a place where 170,000 children in the country are said to be HIV positive. So this is all about delivering tests and delivering results quicker than in the past, where it can typically take around 6 months to get these results in. And when you think about babies, around 1/3 of infected babies die before age 1. 6 months is certainly not something that they can afford to wait.
No, sure, and that early detection and early diagnosis is critical in trying to curb this. As you say, the statistics, it's just so alarming because obviously here in the West, we feel as though we're winning the battle against HIV and we're winning the battle against AIDS. But when you look at those statistics, you know, in Malawi, as you said, 33,000 people die each year as a result of AIDS. And that is just a troubling statistic. So anything that can go towards curbing that, and this is a terrific initiative as a result of, you know, I think it's UNESCO, the drivers, UNICEF, sorry, they're the drivers, right, behind this initiative, and they put millions of dollars of funding into trying to come up with something which, as you said, because of the geography of the place, geography of the country, and because of the widespread nature and the extent of the problem, that this could actually be a really effective solution.
Sure, and it's interesting because UNICEF have also had to start carrying out drone awareness campaigns because of the fact that many of these people in these rural parts of Africa have never seen a drone before in their life. Some of them thought that it might be a sign of the start of another war. Some of them were saying prayers over its virgin flight, blessing it, and they were having to be assured that it was not powered by witchcraft. Well, here's a quote from one of the nurses at the lab that this inaugural flight went to. Her name's Gift Ombolo. She's talked about the fact that seeing something like this land in someone's garden, it could be easily read as witchcraft or something satanic. And she went on to say that this, however, would basically relieve the problem of fuel, the problem of traffic, the drone. It has beaten them all. It's been very hard to get access to these areas, and it's really a flawed testing system. And this now delivery system basically can deliver tests and results, and probably in the future medication at the touch of a button. So, you know, it's quite interesting when you think about this gap between people who think of something like this as witchcraft, the fact that they live in these rural areas, and the fact that this gap between that and how we look at science, advancements, testing for disease, you really have to sort of assume that this gap is one of the reasons why something like HIV has spread so fast in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, there's an educational kind of rationale behind it, but there's also a number of socioeconomic factors as well. Witchcraft is still very much a real phenomenon, as you said, in the country. I mean, earlier this year, or earlier in the month, 7 people were burnt at the stake for suspected witchcraft. So it's certainly something which is prevalent, which is uppermost in people's minds, which is something that they, you know, there is belief, you know, there's a real belief and a sort of vindication for that, and a justice system it put in place in order to eradicate witchcraft. So yeah, I guess it is somewhat curious that we've got this juxtaposition of these two worlds with this mindset, and then we've got the latest technology. In some ways, people are likening it to the use of mobile telephones. They had a lot of investment 10 or 15 years ago in providing mobile telephones to Africa, to countries such as Malawi, and it was a really, you know, was instrumental in the progress against disease and just this bringing this technology to the country. So the hope is, again, that this type of initiative can bring similar relief.
Well, UNICEF has said that the reaction to its drone awareness campaign has been mostly heartwarming. The kids love it. So we're talking about drone awareness, we're talking about witchcraft awareness, we're also talking about HIV awareness. Now drones that deliver HIV tests and results have begun being deployed in parts of Africa, especially the rural parts. We're talking about Malawi, in a bid to crack down on the spread of this deadly virus.